Coffee is for Closers. I'm your host, Tim Brigham, and today I have with me an incredible guest. I can't even believe he's here. We have the founder of the biggest Facebook group for real estate professionals in the country, Labcoat Agents, as well as an advisor to Facebook, an advisor to Instagram. This is the guy you want to listen to in the social media space, because he is also the nicest guy in the world. Today, I have with me Tristan Ahumada. Thank you for joining us today, brother.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah, man. We're excited to have you share. Well, I'm excited to have you share what I know you do with ease. It's pretty incredible. For those that don't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Yeah, man. Look, I'm a real estate agent. I started in 2004 out here in Los Angeles in Ventura County, California. Born and raised out here. And in 2004, I was graduating college, and it was with a history degree. And I'm like, do I want to be a teacher? No, at least I didn't think I did. Or do I want to make some money? That was in my head. I'm thinking money or teacher, because teachers don't make money, unfortunately. And I went to my mom, and she said, well, I think you should look into being a real estate agent because they drive really nice cars. And I'm like, I'm 20, I'm like 22, 23. And I'm like, you know what? You're right, Mom. I'm gonna be a real estate agent. That's what happened.
I think that's pretty common though. I think people want the lifestyle, and they see that, and that's how it kind of starts. Even in mortgage lending too, it's the same thing. It's that you want to emulate a little bit. That's hilarious. That's so your mom is who you can thank for your the start of your career, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, I started off in real estate in 2004, and I come from a telemarketing background.
Okay.
So picking up the phone, doing the old school way of doing business, selling ink cartridges, windows, door to door, all that whole thing. And when I jumped into real estate, the first thing I noticed is that it was very similar. They were telling me to do the same thing. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So first thing I did was door knock. I went door knocking for 6 hours.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And the first thing that was told to me by my broker and my mentor at the time, they said, hey, you need to make a list of people that you should be reaching out to and connecting with and letting them know you're in real estate, and then ask them for referrals. So on that list was my mom.
Oh, wow.
So I'd call her literally every day, right? and I live, and remember, I live with her. So
that's even better.
Hey, Mom, I need you. You talk to a lot of people. Do you know anybody that wants to buy or something? So she got it so ingrained that she gave me one of my first 3 closings that closed on the same day. It was a referral from my mom. The second was a referral from me door knocking. It wasn't the person that I door knocked. It was somebody that was visiting them.
Oh,
that was
wow.
Number 2. And then third one was an open house client. All 3 closed at the same day. So I thought, I'm rich. This is amazing, right?
You've made it.
And I paid off all my student loans, dude. Paid off, done. And I was married at the time too. I'm still married, right? Same lady. And I'm like my wife. I'm telling her, hey, we're rich. This is it. See, my mom was right. We're gonna get a nice car. And then, dude, like a year later, a year and a half later, the market tanks, right?
Yeah.
2 years later.
Wow.
I'm looking at the time, barely coming out, I'm looking at Craigslist. I don't know if you remember putting up all these ads on Craigslist.
Oh, yeah.
I did that until I got, yeah. And then it started working, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I started getting so many leads from there that I started building a team, SEO, blogging, website, Craigslist.
Wow.
And then I get a call from Realtor.com. Realtor.com calls me out of the blue and says, hey, we've got this great product. It's zip code based, and we're selling it to the whole county. I'm like, that sounds like Craigslist to me, right? I go, I'll take the whole county.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what they had, and I didn't know what they had either. I was just it sounds like Craigslist.
Yeah.
So I took the whole county at a massive discount, and dude, I was drowning in the amount of people that were coming through, as They didn't know what they had. I didn't know what the hell was
So
happening.
you were one of the first
So I
people.
was,
Hold on. So you're one of the first people to jump into this? Like you got a phone call for what you were doing for
I
SEO.
was,
Wow.
I was the first in the top, uh, maybe handful because of this, and I didn't realize it later. Their headquarters, their sales floor and headquarters was in the same building I was in Westlake Village, California. So they tested it out in my area first. They picked up the phone, they dialed A's first, and my last name is Ahumada. And
Wow.
I said yes. I picked up the whole. It's all by chance, dude. And
I
picked up the
love
whole
it.
county. Literally started getting drowned, and I'm like, "What the hell's happening?" So I was forced to piece together. I'm like, what were we doing when I was telemarketing? I had to go back to my telemarketing days. I'm like, hold on, there are pieces here. Somebody's got to quarterback this. Now I have to have showing agents. Now I'm going to build a team. And that's why I started building a team, man. That's how it happened.
So fast forward. So what we haven't gotten to yet, right, is that who you are on social media now today is it's incredible, man. I'm honored to even talk to you because of how much you have built and how much you have done. You're the founder of Labcoat Agents, right? You built out the biggest community of real estate professionals on Facebook, right? Does that start from that Zillow? That how did that start?
It did. It started from that because what I started teaching on was I had the opportunity now to speak all around the nation because we were doing this at a high level.
Okay.
And when I started speaking, I started getting the same questions. Hey, how do you do this? What tech do you use? What is a lead coordinator? What is an ISA? Right back in the day, and said I think I've got to put this somewhere. My wife said put it on Facebook, so I created a group because of her, and then it started growing just off one thing. It was online lead generation, online lead conversion. That was it.
Wow.
And we did that so well that everything else stemmed from that. They're like, well, this place seems to give us the answer for this. I wonder what they do for open houses. I wonder what they do for farming. And then it just blew up. And then Inman got a hold of us. And then Facebook realized that we had a very large group and we were running lead ads in 2015. And then they called me up and said, hey, you want to visit our campus and take a look? And then we could talk Facebook group and lead ads. And I said, yeah. So go up there, talk to them. Same day, they said, hey, we're looking to open up a real estate vertical inside of Facebook to help agents and connect with brokers on running better lead ads.
Wow.
And so I ran a real estate advisory board for the whole nation. I connected them with Keller Williams. I connected them with all these other companies. And then that just grew. And we had such a great relationship. They opened up the doors for other things. The thing here, though, is that as I'm growing on this end, our team locally is also performing well because I'm grabbing all of this cool tech that now I get first. And I'm like, oh, this works. Throw it over here, put it into play. And so I start testing so much because we get it now for free
Yeah.
to test it out and put it into Labcoats. I'm like, hey, Labcoats, check this out. Hey, this is how this works. Oh, hey, this doesn't work. Don't use this, right? Oh, use this. And then it starts growing into more of a community. From there, now we have ownership of tech companies and startups and all of these great opportunities just from going all in on one thing that you were great at, right? Me, online lead generation. And I think we can learn from that because in all of these transitions and changes, they're going to continue to happen. If it's not one thing, it's the proposed NAR settlement or something else.
Right. Right. It's always something.
Change is always going to happen, dude. And I think that's where the biggest opportunity lies for us, for closers, right? Coffee is for closers.
Amen. Amen. You know, I want to unpack what you just said for anybody watching this. First off, if you're not a part of Labcoat Agents, you got to check it out. I mean, it's nothing but value that's being poured out and people sharing their experiences. It's pretty wild, right? If you're trying to vet something out, I guarantee you somebody's had an experience with it. If you're trying to learn something, they're openly sharing ideas, and it's not it's selfless, right? They're sharing these things because we want to survive as an industry. So what you have built is a community of people that is, it's wild. Nobody's in there, trying to be a jerk or any of that. It's really about, hey, watch out for this, or hey, you should try this because it worked for me. And it's all about pouring value out into the industry. I think a lot of people get this wrong. They think that they're supposed to hold on to everything because they have this secret. And the secret is you give it out to everyone, because no one ever went broke giving away things, right? Giving things to people, right? That is a very important part of our industry that I've learned. And I think that people like you inspire me to do it even more. It's wild. I would love to pick your brain, or for the audience to share maybe some of the things that you're excited about, either a program wise or, what you're using now that maybe people should share some of those ideas.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm always looking to see what else is out there that's performing at a high level
Sure.
for agents. And I think one thing that we have seen works extremely well is just shifting your mindset into looking for any type of product or outlet that allows you to attract people more so than reaching out to them and trying to convert them. So there's the chasing and there's the attracting,
Sure.
right? And I've done the chasing. I mean, telemarketing, cold calling, expireds. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because we actually still do some of those things. But I would rather function in a world where I'm trying to attract people, and I'm being very specific. I'm trying to attract a specific type of audience, right? Maybe it's just people that are downsizing. Maybe it's first time home buyers. Maybe it's move up sellers. Maybe it's move down sellers, or the silver tsunami, right? We've got like almost 10 million of those transactions happening in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So the more specific we get, whether it's a demographic or a community, the more our message resonates with them. And so I'm looking at the top 5 most visited websites in the world, if we want to start there. For me, it's Google's number one. How are we using Google? What's your Google plan, right? And it's sixfold, right? Now that they added Gemini to it, which is the AI chat,
Yeah.
you should use that daily. If you're not using AI at least 20, 30 minutes a day, then you're not keeping up with the changes. So that's number one. Figure out how to use AI on that. Number 2 is you've got to have a Google business profile, and you've got to have it set up, and you've got to update it daily. Pictures, videos, that. Number 2, reviews. Work on your reviews on Google, not Zillow, not Facebook, not any other form. Nobody ever says, hey, I'm going to go to this other place to search for something. It's no, I'm going to Google to search for something. And so reviews are important there.
You just
right?
taught me
It's
two
very
things.
important.
I thought that Zillow and Google had equal importance. It sounds like you're focused mainly on Google, right? And that I guess I never even thought about
Yeah.
that. That's brilliant. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
look, Zillow is important as far as reviews, but it doesn't trump Google's reviews. Google should be first on everyone's menu of where you send people to get reviewed, because when people go and search for homes or they search for anything, they go to Google first, right? It's the most visited website in the world.
Gotcha.
So we have now 3, and then YouTube. What about YouTube? What's your YouTube plan, right? Because anytime you search up anything on Google, they also serve up a video, and that video is a YouTube video, right? So what's your YouTube plan when it comes down to that? And then there's SEO. SEO is not dead, search engine optimization. It's just figuring out how to provide better quality information for those looking for whatever it is you're offering. And we want to go back to 2014, 2015, when Google. So I also got to visit Google's campus. And while I was there, they were talking about micro moments. Us as the businesses, we need to provide in video format, in blog format, in any type of format, those moments where the consumer is thinking, man, what is it like to live there? Let me Google that. Micro moment. Hey, you know what? This broke in my home. How do you fix the water heater? Micro moment. Those moments in the form of videos or blogs create great SEO, right? That's what I'm talking about. And lastly, Google PPC, Google pay per click. If you go in listening in right now, as you're listening, you can go to Google on your phone, Safari, type in homes for sale and put your city. Homes for sale in Tim, where city?
Barrington. Let's start there.
I Barrington, and then what would populate the first 3, 2, or sometimes 4 are the sponsored Google posts, and it's typically Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, Homes.com, one of those competitors, and they're going in and just grabbing an audience, nurturing them, and then selling them back to us. Right? You ask how Zillow grew, it's Google PPC, right? That's how they grew. Realtor.com, Google PPC. Homes.com, out of everything, I watched them grow. It's Google PPC. So those are the 6 on Google. You shift over to the second one, which is YouTube. It's like you've got to figure out what your audience is. Who's your audience? It can't be everyone. That was the wrong answer. It's not everyone, right? If I'm looking to attract, because I'd rather attract than chase, who am I trying to attract? And for me, I'm trying to attract a specific clientele where I live, because I live here. I would want to talk to these type of people that are wanting to move to a beach place. They love California because there's enough people that hate it too, right? I'm only attracting the people that love it and the people that want this type of an atmosphere. And more importantly, the people who can afford it. So I'm not talking to everyone, and that's okay.
Right.
But who are you talking to listening in? You've got to get really clear. And it's not bigger and bigger. It's actually smaller and smaller and smaller. Tim, I would say if you're listening in, create an avatar. Like, who are you targeting? They're 33 years old. They have debt. They're purchasing their first home. They might have their first kid, right? And these are their struggles. These are their wins typically. And these are the problems they want to solve. That's how nitty gritty you get into this. And then you start talking. That's how you show up on YouTube, right? And then you start winning. And then, dude, Tim, if I'm talking to you, you're 33, it's like, man, he gets it. This guy gets me. He's going to share it. And then it starts expanding. And then more opportunities come from there, right? It's the same thing I did with online lead generation and conversion. We did it so well at a high level, better than most people in the United States. And then everything spanned from there, right? So it's the niche that allows you to grow. It's not the other way. That's YouTube. Number 3 is Facebook. Facebook is the largest social media outlet. Doesn't have the most visitors like YouTube, but it's the largest. They've got 3 billion monthly active users. They just grew to 3 billion. So they're still growing. Right now you look at, well, what's my plan there? Well, you know that the average age of a Facebook user is 25 to 34. And then the second is 35 to 45-ish. And all of that age group usually owns a house and makes money.
Yeah,
so
right.
I like that. Of course, Facebook is going to be a place that I go and show up to daily. What's my plan though? Same thing. And there's an opportunity for groups there. Do you put your past clients into groups? Do you put your core sphere into groups? Do you create a community? Like my friend Blair out of Living North Phoenix has 29,000 people, and he doesn't let agents in. It's just people who live in Phoenix, right? Powerful, very powerful. And then we get into the next one was his Instagram, and then X, which is Twitter, right?
Right.
But you've got to have a plan for all these. It's all attraction based now, and the part that people get confused is this part. It's like, well, damn, I got to be everywhere. I got to do all this tech stuff. I just got to connect with more people and automate a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, yeah, but hold on. You also have to be sincere, and people have to know that it's you that's connecting with them. Because the one thing that we're watching happen right now is AI is allowing us to spam the crap out of people even more. And that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about slowing down enough to connect with Tim, to connect with whoever else I need to at a level which allows me to build a relationship, right? And most of us are moving too fast to build relationships. We come from the world that says, oh, if they're not ready now, hang up, throw it in the trash. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
that's that we're heading into. In fact, I've got to nurture Tim if Tim is not ready right
Right.
now.
Right.
I've got to nurture him and use the tech that I have to be able to remarket to him, retarget him, put him on my website, do some handwritten notes, some old school stuff, being like, Tim, it was great talking to you, buddy. Right? I know you love Batman. I love Batman. Batman. Who's your favorite character? Dude, who's your favorite character in the Batman world?
Arkham.
Besides Batman, everyone loves Batman.
Listen, the Riddler is amazing, right? I mean, it is such a great character, but I'll be honest. Harley Quinn's my favorite character because she's nuts. It's just you never know what you're gonna get, right? So,
Dude, that was my choice too.
yeah, right. Like, you can't go wrong there. Look, there's so much to unpack with what you just said. If you're listening into this, the biggest piece I took away just right now was you got to have a plan, an actual plan. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that it seems like they're just shotgunning out without any real specifics. And I think they're trying to emulate quite a bit. Your brilliant idea of creating an avatar of who your customer is and then trying to solve what their problems are, right? Talking to them where they're at. That's brilliant because then people will actually relate to you. I think a lot of people get this wrong where they think that they're supposed to emulate lifestyle, which will then attract these clients. And I'm sorry, but if you haven't closed anything, but you're standing in front of a $3 million listing that isn't yours and shooting videos for it, that's great. It's cool, but it's not going to attract the type of client that you're looking for because it's not going to seem sincere, right? Instead, be yourself. Go out there and connect with the people that are in your world and build. If that's where you want to be, you got to get there, right? You have to get to a place where, people relate to you and feel like they can trust you. It's this automation behind AI and ChatGPT and all these things. They're great, but if that's all you're doing, I'll be honest, we've gotten to a society now where we know what you're doing. We feel that weird kind of like you don't even talk that way. Like what is this? It's an uncomfortable piece if you use it incorrectly. One of the things I heard you say in a previous chat we had was everybody wants to be the Jetsons and they're forgetting about the Flintstones, right? That the hard work that needs to be done, right? They're trying to automate everything and trying to create this environment that is so advanced so fast, right?
Yeah.
What else do you think in regards to the social media world? Like if you're just getting started or you have questions on it, which one of those platforms would you start? Which do you think is the starter version of those? Or would you do all of it?
I'd say there are 4 ways that the social platforms work. So you've got YouTube. YouTube is its own beast, right? YouTube is probably the hardest one to break through.
Amen.
And YouTube is long form video, and any short form video that you create, especially with what they just added. The short videos can connect to the long form videos now in the short. And I think with the long form videos, they have to be super niche and you have to do it for a long period of time and you have to go back to the analytics. This is a long-term play, YouTube. Yeah. And it's true that it can take one video to blow up your channel, but that one video is like 5 years in the making sometimes. Okay. So it's its own beast, long form. I think it's probably still the place that we can get the most business from as real estate agents because it has the widest range of people, like 5-year-olds, not that we're getting business there, but 5-year-olds all the way to 80-year-olds or Fortnite videos or asking questions when they're 80 years old and saying, to do this over here in my garden, how do you do this? Right? So that's the cool thing, it has a widest range. I think the second opportunity you have are platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and I would bundle those three together,
Okay.
which is the opportunity you have there are the short videos. And again, anywhere you go, you're going to have to identify who am I talking to, right? Who do I want to attract? So short videos there, you could literally post the same one on TikTok that you're posting on Instagram, that you're posting on Facebook for Reels. And then decide, do I want to start up a live video once a week and show up and have people ask questions or engage, or me talk about whatever I'm going to talk about? If it's pickleball and I just got a new paddle and this is how you do it and that's what you want to talk about, amazing, right?
Yeah.
But don't deviate. Just that would be platform ideal number 2, which is the short videos. Number 4 is LinkedIn. I'd probably categorize it as its own, because I remember reading yesterday 51% of its users are age 25 to 34. It's the biggest percentage of users in that age group. That's massive,
Wow.
dude.
I did not know that.
Think of who's on there too, out of that age group. It's everyone who either has a job, professional, has graduated, some type of a profession. And I've interviewed a lot of people. Here's a distinction. When I'm interviewing an author, a book author, or a Stanford professor, Harvard professor, every time they give me their LinkedIn, they never say, well, follow me on Instagram, Tristan. They always say, oh, here's my LinkedIn. And I always found that interesting. It's like, very interesting that they show up on LinkedIn more. They post up their research, their blogs. So if you want to attract people on LinkedIn, you've got to be posting things that connect with people. And the cool thing for agents, mortgage brokers, our world in real estate is that you can actually show off on LinkedIn because it's a professional network. You can show your awards, you can show your listings, you can show the cool stuff you're doing, but mix it in with some education. I think that's the key right there. Twitter or X and Threads. Threads is the Instagram. And there is, I think they function, mostly X functions like a news outlet or information or the latest type of things you can get or thoughts. And I think that goes to a smaller group, but I'm telling you, that group on X, if you take out the whole freedom of speech, politics side of it,
Yeah.
they have some of the most amazing educational content I've seen on X. So you have to be prepared to play at that level, which is a little higher, by the way. And it's written. It's all written. It's almost no video, even though you see Tucker and you see all these other people on video, it's still mostly written.
Yeah.
And I think you have to decide going in, which platform do I use daily as a CRM to connect and attract the people I want to connect with and I want to attract. But that comes down to you, right?
That's great advice. That's absolutely great advice. Last time we talked, would you mind sharing what you were talking about with Google? I thought it was brilliant about setting your filters, right? For those that are doing Google ads, and I find that it's real easy to target the city that you're in, but you shared some brilliance that I didn't even think about. Would you mind talking about that a little bit? I think our audience would love it.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think, let me see if I can share my screen and we'll do this together. Let me grab
If you're
Google.
just tuning in, this is the part. This part right here is brilliant. You're going to want to pay attention to this.
So I'm going to go to Google. Can you see my screen?
I can. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So on Google, I'm going to just type in, let's go for homes for sale in, you know what? I like Honolulu. Let's go for Honolulu, dude. Let's go to Honolulu.
Okay.
And you can see a little bit of what we were talking about, the sponsored posts, Redfin. So they're buying Google pay-per-click.
Mm-hmm.
Zillow buying Google pay-per-click in Honolulu. Corcoran as well. And then Realtor. So, 3 of our biggest competitors are on there buying this in bulk, right? And then you get into organic. The key to this, though, is 2 ways. One, if you're looking to capitalize on Google, normally people start their search that are higher up in the funnel with this terminology. But the further down they go, the longer the searching, the keywords are. So homes for sale in Honolulu. And look, Google's helping me out here. In fact, if I go down a little bit, and I didn't talk about this in the last one, but if I go down a little bit, right here, it says people also ask. And now it's giving me, as somebody who's working at this strategically, what else are people typing in? And if I click here, Google will tell me, let's see here, it populates. It says, let me see, it says, these are questions people commonly search on Google. So it's helping me. I'm like, okay, maybe I should buy some of these keywords. What is the average price of a house in Honolulu? Can an American buy a house in Hawaii? Oh, I didn't even know that was a question. Holy crap. Let's see what happens if I ask that, man. That would be an interesting keyword search on Google that we could put some money behind. Now you have AI populating and nobody has bought that. So it'd be interesting to see what pops up here at the top organically. Rocket Homes and Bankrate and Hawaii Life organically for that. So as you start doing that, you can capitalize on that search through keywords, but you have to figure out what are the keywords I want to use. So for instance, for us, we're looking at homes for sale in Malibu, close to Pepperdine. That is a keyword that university. That is a keyword that I know works really well because people that are looking to buy homes in Malibu are usually people with children that are going to go to Pepperdine University. And Pepperdine University is like $55,000 a year. And if you see, this is interesting because that is one of our websites. If I click here, it'll take you to one of our websites. Now it'll ask you questions. Here's the thing we miss with Google PPC. Even Zillow doesn't do this. This is why we do so great with Google pay-per-click. I ask you questions when you get to our website. It says, okay, free home search engine here. Show me homes with, let's go 3 bedrooms. How many bathrooms? Well, I'll go 2. And people fill this out. And if they don't, then I don't want them. I want quality over quantity every single time. And let's just answer these questions. Have you been pre-approved? No. When do you plan to buy? 4 to 6 months. How often should we email you? Let's do daily. And we'll just put my email address next. It's verifying it. What's my first name? I put Happy Gilmore last time. And then 805-559. That's my number. No, I don't need to sell before I buy. And I'll just go to the next one. And then that's it. We lose people sometimes, but sometimes we don't. And when we don't, man, let me show you. If I go to Follow Up Boss, I'm going to show you, share
That's
this
incredible.
Tab. Let me know if you can, my CRM right now. It has
Yep,
a
I
whole
see
bunch
it.
of
Yep,
names.
you're good. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go to some leads that we just got recently. Let's go to Paul. Let's go to Nugget. Sounds like a fake name. Let's go to Nugget. They came in 15 hours ago, but look what information they came with. Remember, I just filled this out?
Yeah.
Google PPC. So now look at this. I have an address of where they live.
Wow.
They're looking for over 6 months. Do you own a home? Yes. Well, we already know that. They gave me their address. How many bedrooms? Any at 3,500 square feet. I'll browse the website first. So now better quality leads. I look to see what they're looking at. It's a Google AdWord, obviously. Here's what they've looked at over the last, here's where they came in looking at Malibu condos for sale.
Wow.
And they came in at, and now I can call them. I have a little bit more information. Jacob's already called them. Right, there it is. And I think the key to this is just understanding that not all leads coming in are built equally. And then my conversation now, the number one thing is, Tim, I'm calling you. And it's not like, hey, Tim, it's Tristan. You just visited our website. Do you have a real estate agent? Do you want to see a home? Are you pre-approved?
Yeah, right. Those questions already answered. Yeah.
Right. It's more like, hey, Tim, it's Tristan. You visited our website through Google. What are you looking for? And they're like, Tristan, I'm just browsing. Or Tristan, my son clicked on it. I didn't do it. I'm like, oh, don't even worry about it. Listen, I'm always just looking at homes. Tim, what are you looking for? Closer to the beach or up on the hills?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim, what are you looking for? To move into or fixer?
Yeah.
Tim, are you looking for a condo or a house?
You're getting a true needs assessment right out the gate, and it's brilliant. I mean, the lead capture, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to somebody's website and it's open versus you kind of need to fill out a little bit of information to be the gatekeeper, right? To, like you said, get quality versus just people going to it, viewing it, and then you have no way to follow up with them. So Tristan, I know that last time we had talked, you had actually shared that this is brilliant stuff. Also, too, you're targeting people that are moving to a specific area. How do you do that? Because I think that's gold there, too. I never even thought of it.
So what we do is typically go to a free place that everyone can go to, like them or not. It's Redfin. You can go to Redfin, and you can do this with me, man. Let me share my screen with you, all right?
Cool.
Let me grab the Redfin website. Give me a big metro area. I was looking at Sheridan, Wyoming earlier, but give me a bigger area.
Let's do Chicago. Let's see who's moving to Chicago.
Chicago, Illinois. And it's going to populate it. Just give it a second. Once it populates, it's going to show me all the properties that are here, which is great. All websites do this, right? But what I'm looking for is specifically a little section on the right. It says Market Insights. Do you see that, Tim?
Yeah.
Market Insights.
Yeah.
I'm going to click on Market Insights, and then that is a big piece of how we use our ads on Facebook and Google, because we go to the bottom of this and we take a look at where people are moving to Chicago and moving from Chicago.
Look at
so either
that.
Or. And people moving to Chicago, I could just go down right here and tell you, these are the places. I'm probably going to pick the top 4, maybe the top 3, and then create Google PPC ads that target those areas with properties from Chicago, about average price point. And that's going to populate on people on Facebook in those areas and that are searching just randomly on Google. But dude, New York, not even close. Look at that, dude. 1,600 people. Second is St. Louis, which kind of makes sense. Cool. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
The one that doesn't make sense is San Francisco. I'm thinking job transfer. That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Jobs, right? And then people moving out of Chicago. Sometimes it gets a little too cold, right? That's what I hear. And it makes sense because look at where they want to move, dude.
Wow.
Look at the top 5.
Wow.
Which makes sense, right? Because you're freezing in Chicago, so they want to go somewhere warm.
So you can reverse that
funny.
and almost retarget, in the opposite. That's fantastic. I don't think I've ever even clicked on the insights of that website. That is brilliant stuff. I think that, thinking outside the box, and instead of just focusing on your own area, you can focus on people that are specifically looking to move to your area and get to them beforehand as you're the expert, right? I love it. I love it, man.
Honestly, that data works really well when we run Facebook lead ads and Instagram lead ads, because we can target people in those cities and states so well. And the ad will just populate, even though they're very top of funnel. Like, nobody's going on Facebook to search for homes, right? They're going to check out family, spend maybe 5 minutes laughing and then checking news. And then they see a property and they're like, oh, I've always wanted to move to Chicago. Click. And then that's where you bring them into your world. Right? I love it. But that's typically how.
I love it, man. So, all right. So I got something I have to share with you, because you really messed me up the last time we talked. I want you to know that I've got your voice in my head like daily. As weird as that is to say, it's true. You taught me something that was so amazingly important in one of your videos that you shared online. If you're watching this, check him out, right? Because he's sharing these tips openly on the regular. I watched a live, that you were talking about some of the things when you're calling your past client database, right? You're calling your sphere. And the thing, there's a lot to unpack there, but the most powerful thing I got out of it was, so let me guess, when you call your past clients, the first thing out of your mouth is just checking in, right? And it's it's the worst thing you could possibly say because it just devalues you instantly, right? Like, no, you're not. No,
Yeah.
you're like, and the client or anyone who's on the phone is automatically, turned off because they're like, what does this guy want? And now I raised my hand. I put my head down. I raised my hand, watching your video, going, I am so guilty of that. And I didn't even know how offensive that is because I just treated that relationship like lead gen, and they know it. They know that I'm calling to check in. That's crazy, right? I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, man, because it's so good.
Yeah, I learned that because I did it so often in telemarketing, right? And I realized quickly that that wasn't working well. It's like people would be like, "Oh, it's just another cold caller." It's not as apparent when we do it in real estate because typically who we're reaching out to are either other agents that were our friends or we want to get referrals from, or clients, past clients, core sphere. And that's the worst thing you could do because it just puts you in a category where you're really not doing anything for them. Oh, it's the same thing that somebody else is going to say. I'm just touching base. Hey, the worst one, Tim, when you tell me something and I'm like, I can appreciate that. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? You can't appreciate that. That doesn't mean anything, right? Something else is going to be countered right now. I can appreciate that, but right, those are my two pet peeves. Like, don't appreciate anything I tell you, right? The other thing is when you're touching base with somebody, think about that. It's like, what does that even mean? I'm just touching base. Oh, you know what it really means? It means I actually didn't have an intent. I just wanted to pick up the phone. And I needed to call you because you popped up and I wanted to see if you could actually give me business, right? And that, if you continue to touch base with people, when you're calling people, they'll be like, oh, it's Tristan again. I don't know.
Right.
They're not gonna pick it up.
Right.
And that hurts. And you're wondering why people don't pick up your phone. You're wondering why people don't text you back. It's because you're touching base too much. There has to be real intent behind the call. Give me some value. Give me some real value. Why are you calling me? Because I won't care about you until I know you care about me, like really care about me. And that's why touching base is it's just a hard one, right?
I love it. I love it. What do you have any examples that you could share with the audience quickly on what
Yeah.
value you pour into your people?
Right now, I'll tell you what we're doing. And dude, I don't know if that we talked about this last time because I think we talked right before the NAR settlement popped,
That's
right?
right.
Might
That's
have
right.
been. So this is what we've been doing. It works amazing, dude. One of these two. It can be one of these two. I know some people don't want to bring up the settlement, so that's fine. Don't bring it up.
Okay.
We do. Or you can bring up market, either or. Here's my call, Tim. You're a past client, your core sphere. I text you first. Tim, do you have 5 minutes? I have a real estate question for you for a change. I did this live, so people watched it. And the past client's like, yeah, go right ahead. And he put a laughing face, right? I'm like, great. Picked up the phone, called. I said, hey, his name's Farong, 15-year past client.
Okay.
He loves me because he says I made him a millionaire because he bought at the right time. I didn't make him a millionaire. He made himself a millionaire, right?
That's so
Uh,
cool.
Call him up. I'm like, hey Farong, it's Tristan. Listen, dude, I'm calling you for real estate this time. And he laughs. He's like, all right, what you got? I'm like, well, have you been watching the news about the whole real estate thing? And he's like, you mean the settlement or just the market? His exact response. I said, both. He's like, okay, well, and then he went into the settlement, what he thought. And this is the cool part because we're always going for business at the wrong time. Check this out. He goes, what do you think, Tristan? What do you think about the settlement? That's what I want every single call because now he's listening. And now it's the right time to talk about real estate. A lot of the time it falls out of sequence, right? I'm just touching base. What the fuck, dude? Oh, it's so annoying, right?
Yeah, it's an
The
annoying
other
phone
one,
call. Yeah.
the other one is this: if you don't want to test the settlement, he brought up both, but instead it's, hey, I have a real estate question. Call him up. Hey, man, what do you think about the real estate market right now? That's my question. I'm calling all of my past clients in core sphere just to get their feel for it. And then they go into it because we do this too. And they're like, well, Tristan, I don't know. It's kind of a confusing market. And then they go back to the same thing I want. Well, what do you think, Tristan? And that's it. And you know what the cool thing is after I tell them, and then they say, well, and then they always bring up something real estate related, a friend, a cousin, a grandfather, a sister. Farong said, dude, I don't know how long I can stay in California. I'm thinking probably a different state. I go, Farong, where the fuck would you go, dude? Why would you leave? Right. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I don't know where I would leave, but insurance is getting so bad in California because of fires, same as
Mm-hmm.
Florida with the hurricanes, right?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
tornadoes. And so that's a real thing. And now we start talking about options. But these are all long-term plays, but I brought up a question from their part using the right sequence and approach. And we don't do that enough, man.
That is so well put together. The right sequence. I don't think I've ever heard that before. I think that we're so eager to get in front of people to provide value to them in the wrong sequence, because then it just feels like you're just forcing it down their throat versus you're calling them to listen to what they have to say, to then then they ask you, because when you called originally, they didn't ask. They didn't ask you to call and talk about real estate. You called to ask them something. That's man, it's actually truly listening too. I love it. I think that a lot of people could learn a lot of what you've had to say today. And I just can't thank you enough, man. You've got so much value that you pour out. And I appreciate you taking your time today as the founder of Labcoat Agents. I'm sure you're very busy. You're a real estate agent. You got all these things going on. So again, brother, I really appreciate you spending time with me today and pouring into the channel. You're awesome.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, I won't keep you much longer, and I appreciate your time, dude. And we'll cut it there. And there you have it. An incredible conversation with the man himself. If you're in social media, this is the guy you want to listen to. Wild stuff that he shared there. I hope it provided value to your business, because that's what this show is all about. Thank you so much for tuning in.